The Colonels of Eastern Kentucky University, who produced the winningest team in the school's history as they battled their way to the 1979 NCAA championship and an 11-2 record. Inspired by the memory of their beloved teammate, the late Don McKinnon, Coach Roy Kidd's Colonels gave their fans an unforgettable season characterized by fearless, courageous, and heart-stopping play. Faced with the university's toughest ever schedule, Eastern combined a strong offensive attack and stingy defense to build its impressive record. From the season opener at Kent State and on to the national championship in Orlando, Florida, the Colonels seemed destined to win it all. Jerry Parrish was the favorite target of quarterback Bill Hughes and caught 25 passes for 549 yards and 4 touchdowns. While the Colonels struck with their lightning quickness through the air, they did their damage on the ground. Alvin Miller and Dale Patton helped the offense roll up more than 300 yards per game. Led by the play of All-American linebacker Bob McIntyre and the leadership of Joe Richard, the EKU defense made life miserable for their opponents. Eastern's hard-hitting secondary always seemed to make the big play. Sophomore George Floyd came up with 7 of the team's 22 interceptions. The explosive running of Alvin the Horse Miller typified Eastern's determined march to the championship. No one said the march to Orlando would come easy. A last-minute goal line stance preserved a 17-14 season-opening victory at Kent State. It took another courageous goal line stance followed by Danny Martin's block of a Western Kentucky field goal attempt with some 25 seconds left on the clock to save Eastern's 8-6 homecoming win. A crowd of 25,300, the largest in OVC history, was on hand at Hanger Field. The win vaulted the Colonels to the #1 spot of the nation. Then came 5 minutes of let-down football, and Eastern suffered a frustrating loss at Murray State. But Coach Kidd and his players kept their faith and were not disappointed. The Colonels played brilliantly in a must-win game with powerhouse Jackson State. The defense choked the running game of All-American Perry Harrington, and the offense struck early and often to seal a 27-21 victory. Eastern closed the regular season by thrashing Moorhead. Now it was left to destiny. For the Colonels to reach the playoffs, top-ranked Grambling had to lose. It did, and the Colonels could almost taste the sweetness of tangerines. Nevada Reno, with its powerful attack, was the first hurdle. EKU fans felt secure when their team entered the 4th period with a huge lead. Reno had other ideas and battled back to knot the score. Orlando suddenly seemed further away, if not out of reach. But Joe Richard's flair for the dramatic sent the game into overtime when he blocked Reno's tie-breaking extra point attempt. With the score knotted at 23, Eastern took the offense in the NCAA's first overtime game in history. From the 15-yard line, Hughes ran for 5 yards. Patton took a turn. And then Miller had a crack. Hughes put the Colonels ahead on this run. It was Eastern's quick line that opened the hole for the EKU quarterback. Reno wasn't about to quit and scored on its possession, setting the stage for a second overtime. Reno took the ball, but the Colonels' defense stiffened. After a deflected pass to the end zone, defensive end Tim Frohmeyer made the play that broke Reno's spirit. The Western visitors made a futile field goal attempt as the Eastern players rejoiced. They knew victory was near, where they had destiny on their bench. Hughes bowled for a first down as the home fans readied for the celebration. Miller went airborne for the winning score, but was denied the end zone. Hughes pushed with all his might, but Reno refused to budge. Those few inches to glory and Orlando seemed like miles. Enter David Flory, Eastern's Mr. Cool in the Clutch, to win what ABC sports announcer Frank Broyles called the most exciting college football game he had ever seen. And so it was on to Orlando to face Lehigh University.
From Richmond, Kentucky, and I come down to see Eastern win the national championship.
This timely defensive play by Charles Brunson was just one of the many in the championship game. Lehigh's defense was riddled with runs like this by Miller. The Colonels' offensive line ripped wide holes in the Lehigh front wall. Eastern amassed 280 yards of the ground against a team that had allowed its opponents only an average of 76 per game. Simply stated, the EKU offensive line was awesome.
I believe I'd give it to Dale on 32, 44, whatever. You'll call time? Let's call time. Call time.
Microphone on Roy Kidd, the coach, and all I got out of that, Frank, was that let's give it to number 44.
Give it to, I think he said give it to Patton straight ahead on plane number 44.
Oh.
Well, you guys are pumped up and making come off that.
All right, you think, Bill says he thinks we can get it on the sneak. Tell him, wait, go like hell. All right, tell him, wedge it to go like that, get them guys fired up. We got to get them. We got to get touchdowns. If we don't get it, they're going to get momentum. Get them fired up.
While performing the coach's orders to the letter, Eastern controlled the ball from the opening kick. Hughes ran the option to perfection to give his team a quick 7-0 lead. Eastern was well on its way as an entire nation watched. This powerful burst by Nicky Yeast led to another EKU score, and Lehigh's fate was sealed. The only thing in doubt was the final score. The scoreboard read 30-7 when Destiny's final curtain fell. Coach Kidd and his squad had sought the national championship, and it was theirs. Though he didn't wear the maroon and white in Eastern's biggest game, the late Don McKinnon played just as big a role in the victory as the men who blocked and tackled. He was the Colonel's 12th man.
There's a happy child at home.
There's a happy child at home.
In my memory I can see.
In my memory I can see.
Standing out upon the hill.
Standing out upon the hill.
Neath the shadow of the tree.
Neath the shadow of the tree.
If I only had my way.
If I only had my
way.
It would give my heart a thrill.
Just to simply wander back.
Just to simply wander back.
To the cabin on the hill.
To the cabin on the hill.
Oh, I want to wander back.
Oh, I want to wander back.
To the cabin on the hill.
To the cabin on the hill.
Neath the shadow of the tree.
Neath the shadow of the tree.
I would like to linger still.
I would like to linger still.
Just to be with those I love.
Just to be with those I love.
Joy my heart will overfill.
Joy my heart will overfill.
And I want to wander back.
And I want to wander back.
To the cabin on the hill.
To the cabin on the hill.
But the saddest of it all.
But the saddest of it all.
I can never more return.
I can never more return.
To that happy child at home.
To the happy child at home.
Matters not how much I yearn.
Matters not how much I yearn.
If I only had my way.
If I only had my way.
It would give my heart a thrill.
It would give my heart a thrill.
Just to simply wander back.
Just to simply wander back.
To the cabin on the hill.
To the cabin on the hill.
Oh, I want to wander back.
Oh, I want to wander back.
To the cabin on the hill.
To the cabin on the hill.
Neath the shadow of the tree.
Neath the shadow of the tree.
I would like to linger still.
I would like to linger still.
Just to be with those I love.
Just